Well, I think the last thing I think I want to ask before we wrap this up is I asked a couple of people certain sort of I'll throw in a hypothetical. I like to ask this one to certain people, just sort of just get like what people think. And it's kind of interesting, sort of the different reactions and different responses we get from different people and what they believe. So you may have heard this one before. Let's say you died and you went to heaven, and God was up there and he goes, "Look, I like what you do. I like your show. I think you're pretty sweet. But let me tell you something. The Nazis had it right? Morals? Nazis pretty much on the head. Nail on the head. They got it. Nazis knew exactly what was right. And everyone else who wasn't a Nazi, done, dead. Shouldn't exist. That was just a mistake." But he says to you, "You know what? I like your show. I think you're good. I like what you do. I'm going to send you back to Earth, and I want you to let everyone know, as soon as you let it out into the world, everyone will realize as moral truth that anyone who is not Aryan, pure blood, whatever, shouldn't exist. And if you do that, you get to go to heaven. If you don't, you live the rest of your life and you go to hell, but no one will know." What would you guys do in this situation?
Well, is that what you think's going on with Richard Spencer?
Immediately change the name of the show to NonSequitur. I would tell that God to fuck off, and if he wanted to send me to hell, I would probably skip my gay ass into those flames before I will spend an eternity worshiping a Nazi.
Yeah, I take a different approach. I'm a pragmatist. Look, people have done a lot less for a lot less punishment. The thought of having eternal damnation, which by the way I don't believe in. I don't at all believe in any physical place called hell that's its fire and damnation. But let's say for the sake of the argument, for arguendo, that it does exist. Then I think most people would do whatever it takes to stay out of it. I think that the false bravado people put up saying, "Oh, well, I would tell the God to screw off," if it actually happened, I don't think that they would. I honestly don't. I know I wouldn't. I would probably do whatever it takes, because the same reason why slaves capitulated to their masters, right? I mean, people way back when did horrific things because of a more like a carrot stick approach, right? And so if they didn't do what they were told, they get beaten, and this can wear a person down. And can you imagine an eternity of this? And all you have to do is go down there and tell people certain things. Okay, now would there be ethical considerations? Yes, but
that's such a horrible answer, Steve.
It's not a horrible. Fear is a very motivating thing, right? And
no, but listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. You would be. And you're Jewish.
Listen to what I'm saying very carefully here, so not to be miscontextualized. You're talking about an eternity opposed to what happens on Earth, which has no consequences later on for you in that case.
Yes,
in other words,
we're talking about your moral fortitude.
If you can save everybody on the planet where they all get to go to heaven instead of hell just by that little thing, I'm okay with that.
That's not your option, though. That's not your option. Your option is that
does everybody else, well, even still, I mean, most people are going to be like, "Well, I'm going to save myself to try to."
I refuse to believe that. I refuse to.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
I refuse to believe that there are people who.
I'm the
I think for the most part. I think for the most part, people have that kind of moral credence that they would look at it, somebody telling them that. The destruction of 6 million people was an okay thing. I'm okay with that. And then and somebody looking at them going, "Okay, I can sell that."
Yeah, well,
I don't see that.
I just know from military training, stuff like that. Look at you can get tortured. People have broken a lot less of torture and will do horrific things. And
some have, yes, but there are some who haven't.
I don't think any human being could withstand eternal torment, and that's why I don't think it's even something that exists. It makes no sense to me for any kind of benevolent God to have eternal torment. I think they're contradictory, involved in that, right?
Oh no, he's not benevolent. He hates everyone except the white Aryan. No, he is very, very hateful.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't be a god at that point.
He's a Satan, fucking Nazi,
right? He's space Hitler. Let's just call it that.
Yeah. Well, I like that.
Yeah, well,
Sky Hitler.
It's a crappy universe that we got in then, yeah. But, I have to be pragmatic on that. And, yeah, I probably would do what I was told out of sheer fear. Now, would I feel guilt, remorse? Of course. These are unethical things. But you have to look at a consequentialist approach that, you're gonna be suffering for eternity doing something that you think is immoral. I'd rather do an immoral act.
What is the worst suffering?
Later on. I'll get over that.
What's the worst suffering, though? Burning for eternity, or bowing at the feet of a Nazi deity that you know smiles when people are suffering and are gassed alive. I couldn't do that. That to me is a worse torture.
Yeah, both suck, but being in pain.
No.
Pain is the biggest motivator there possibly is.
But also remember that if you do put it out the world, like everyone in the world will know it and immediately believe it. So you basically, people will never have like a meaningful life unless they're like a Nazi.
Yeah, you brainwashed everybody into being a Nazi. Well, at least we know one thing. JF will probably be the guy at the pearly gates in that scenario.
No, he's got brown hair. He doesn't count. Even him, nah, fuck him.
Yeah, he's done. Damn it.
Brown hair, nah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, by the way, as you mentioned, I'm Jewish because my mom's Jewish. I'm saved either way, I think, according to the Jew. I think that if you're Jewish, you're good to go. I'm like, yes, cool.
I can't even look at you right now. And we have a show. In 30 minutes. Work this. I have a show in.
Yeah. So you answer honestly, and also you're a Nazi. Yeah, I don't think it works that way, man.
No.
It's a very motivating thing. People have.
I'm glad you asked that question.
I don't think
Brian. It shines new light on people.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, it's honesty, because I got to tell you, I think it's a false bravado. If you have an omnipotent God, evil or not, that's telling you to do something, you're not going to stand up to him. With threat of pain, it's not going to happen. People don't even do that with human dictators. They don't stand up to them.
They do all the time. Look at those people who got run over in Tiananmen Square with those tanks. They weren't moving.
Yeah, some do, but have that happen every single day for eternity.
People that raided Normandy on the beaches, that stormed the beaches. The people on the front lines at every civil war that ride into battle.
I think they would change their
Queen
mind.
Elizabeth.
They thought that
Queen
was
Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, riding in her golden knight's outfit into battle as a woman and the Queen. She gave zero fucks. There are people who look at authority and tell it to go fuck it.
What do you think about Ryan? For eternity, would you?
I happen to think that we're still full of those people.
Not for eternity. I just don't see it in the human.
Well, it's sort of hard
condition.
to sort of perceive eternity, but it's like it's a really complex question, and it's really hard for me to sort of give a pinpoint answer on it. It's like ideally it would be great to know that human civilization as a whole will live sort of blissfully ignorant and not, I guess, be living in this horrible moral universe. But there was a because I asked Destiny this, and he put this in a really interesting light, which was that like if there is an actual person who can give morals, it's kind of weird to sort of go against that. It's sort of like he put this analogy with like, let's say there was one person on one side of a wall and everyone else was on the other, and the guy on the other side of the wall was telling you that this side's orange, this side's perfect, this side's great. You have no real reason to sort of distrust that person because they're the only person and they're the only person telling you, sort of thing. And it's puts into this moral sort of quandary of like, well, if you go against him, it's like you're like, is it even possible to really go against what I guess true moral is? Like, are you the ultimate like anti-moral realist out there? Like, you just have the ultimate perception, and it's kind of interesting thing to think. But I honestly I go back and forth on it, on which would be the better option, because it's
you tell that guy on the other side of the wall that you don't care what color his side of the wall is. You're looking at your side, and your side is rainbow colored, and he's on that side of the wall, and he's not doing you any good on this side of the wall. So it can be.
You got no reason to believe him either way. I mean, it's 50-50, right? I mean, you actually are agnostic on the proposition.
I'm a skeptic.
I'm
going to say it's green.
So, if somebody's telling me that the other side's better and you have a choice, do I want to jump on the other side and take the chance of making it better or making it worse? I'm probably going to stick where I'm at, because it's like flipping a coin, and that's guessing. And guessing is never going to be something that's justified for making a decision. It's not belief. So if I think that, hey, that guy over there's telling me the truth and he's convinced me, I'm going to need something concrete, not just his word, right? So I'll probably stay on my side.
No, that's
fair. Better.
Well, let me end with this then. Final word. In life, there are henchmen, and then there are heroes. You decide what you're going to be. America.
Amazing.
Amazing. Beta.
Beta.